Right now, we're talking with the knockout ace, Ovin St. Peru. Am I pronouncing that properly?
You are.
What do you like to be called?
Either or. I'm Vince, OSP, I respond to all. St. Peru, I respond to all.
OSP okay for this interview?
OSP is good.
All right, well, let's do it. When did you start fighting? I mean, were you fighting as a kid?
When I was a lot younger, my family, when we used to live in Miami, I used to get in a lot of trouble. But I think around the age of 7 or 8, we moved to a small town in the west coast of Florida, Immokalee. And I was pretty much calm. I kind of kept to myself. And just that's about it. And never really got in a fight after that.
You never got into any fights when you were a kid?
I just remember one in middle school, and that's about it.
And did you win that fight?
I did.
What was your knockout punch?
It wasn't too much of a knockout. I was on top of him, and we had people pulling us out. So it wasn't too much of a knockout.
How did you get into UFC? Were you recruited, or did you have to audition? How did that happen?
It essentially happened in, playing college football. You get done, and, a lot of times when we work out, we have to work out. If we don't work out, we get in trouble. So along coming from working out a lot, you end up developing the appetite. The thing about playing college football is if you're not forced to work out anymore, or if you know you're not going to get in trouble for working out anymore, more than likely you're not going to work out. So you got guys who leave and come back a year later, and they come about 50 pounds heavier. Your appetite is still the same, but you don't work out like you used to. So I didn't want to become one of those guys. And, when my football career is over, I told myself I need something to keep me in shape. One of my fraternity brothers introduced me to mixed martial arts, and went to the gym and kind of took it from there.
Fraternity, what fraternity was that?
Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Who in your life, which fighter in your life has been most inspirational for you?
It's crazy because when I first started watching fighters, I used to watch Hendo a lot, especially when it first came back when I first started watching Pride. Hendo, Shogun, Anderson, and you watch people like Fedor, which was incredible. Rampage, the same guy. Especially going into the UFC, you had your George St. Pierre. You had your now. I think one of my favorite fighters now is Demetrius Johnson. If you want to, Demetrius Johnson is a guy that, if you want to look at a perfect technique, you look at that guy. If you want to look at a guy that can balance all three styles of mixed martial arts pretty good, you look at that guy.
If you were in the ring with him, who would win?
Between me and Demetrius Johnson?
Yeah.
Well, obviously he's definitely out of my weight class. I would have to catch him first.
Okay. What does it mean for you to be a fighter?
It means a lot. You got to carry yourself a certain way. I learned that from playing, even football in college. You always got to carry yourself a certain way. No matter what you do, you're always going to be, up in under a microscope. Everybody's going to know who you are. So, with that being said, you got to carry yourself a certain way. You got to act within a particular manner, and with the history of martial arts, come with a lot of respect and a lot of honor that follows behind that too. Just because this is a style that you do, but even though I'm a mixed martial artist, I get my style from people before me, and you want to carry yourself a certain way just because you don't want to make them feel like you're, belittle them then. So
when you're out and you're carrying yourself in that special way, do you ever have somebody come up and challenge you, maybe somebody who's had a few too many drinks or something like that, and they say, hey, I could take you?
Yeah, the thing about alcohol is they call it liquid courage for a reason. I've never really had that happen to me, but I'm really good at avoiding situations like that. So if I feel something's about to happen, I can be the bigger person, turn around and leave.
So is it more important to be respected or feared?
I think more respected. I mean, if you fear someone, it doesn't mean I'd rather have somebody respect me. If you fear someone, that doesn't mean you're going to respect them at all. So I think it's more important to be respected.
Can we talk about your mama for a moment?
Yeah.
What's your mama's biggest worry about you being a UFC fighter? I'm sure she's definitely worried, and she's watching right now, I'm sure.
She worries, but to be honest, she don't even watch the fights until afterwards. Or if she does watch the fight, she usually has, her eyes closed and somebody's telling her what happened, which is more than likely my sister-in-law explaining everything. But, my parents grew up from a different culture. So sometimes, when I first started doing this, they didn't understand. And now they kind of understand to the point where, a lot of people know you. And especially with my last name being as unique as it is, they hear my mom's last name, be like, do you know this guy named Ovin St. Preux? Like, oh, that's my son. And everybody was like, wow. So she kind of understands now. At first she didn't understand, but she kind of got the gist of everything.
I'm sure she must be very proud of you. Your entire family and all your friends, I'm sure, are very proud of you.
Yeah, I get a lot of support. I get a lot of support from my friends, especially my family. My family lets me know day in and day out. I get a lot of support from them, from a lot of my old teammates. So it's always good just because, like, when you have a good support system, it makes you know that, okay, I love what I'm doing, but, I always have people back home who's always supported me too.
I love to watch you fight. And when you're in the ring, just before the fight starts, and you touch gloves with your opponents, you give that look to your opponent that says, I'm going to kill you. Could you look in that camera and give that look to all of our fans, to all of your fans?
I gotta gather myself together. It might just be for about a second, but hold up. Let me do it while trying to laugh.
Okay, all right.
Take a deep breath. Hold up. I can't help it.
I'm sorry.
Hold up.
But you know what? If you did that to your opponent, if you started laughing just before the fight, that would really throw him off, right?
It would, but at the same time, sometimes when you laugh, that's kind of reverting towards like I'm a little scared or I'm a little nervous. Sometimes when you do that, but at the end of the day, it's almost like when people get caught with a good punch, they start laughing or they start smiling. It really hurt. That's why you started doing that. You want to act like it didn't hurt, but it really did hurt.
How much time do you spend training?
To be honest, like I pretty much train a lot. I train anywhere from, 5 to at most 8 hours a day. So regardless of me, if I'm doing boxing, if I'm doing gymnastics, if I'm doing strength and conditioning, jiu-jitsu, MMA, or even if I'm doing yoga. So within that, or that's not even including, like, pretty much I'll train hard probably 2/3 of the time, and the other 1/3 is some type of recovery. If I'm doing a hyperbaric chamber, if I'm not doing a hyperbaric chamber, I'm getting like a deep tissue, ice and cold. I'm in cold and hot tub. See a chiropractor twice a week. See my PT at least twice a week. So
A chiropractor twice a week? Why is that?
You put a lot of stress on your body. When you put a lot of stress on your body and your joint, a lot of times people, when you walk, you don't realize it because you've been doing it for so long. Your body is actually off track just a little bit. So when you get adjusted by a chiropractor, what ends up happening is he lines your body up correctly. Now, mind you, usually when I get adjusted by a chiropractor, I feel good because something in my body is out of whack. And when he does that, my flexibility increased by like 20%. And also, what else? My strength increases by another 20% too. So I can feel the difference when I get adjusted by a chiropractor.
Well, my son-in-law and daughter are in the chiropractic business, so if you're ever in California and you need some help, I'll introduce you to them.
Definitely.
Kind of a crazy question here, but when you're in training, shortly before a fight, is it okay for lovemaking? I told you it'd be kind of a crazy question.
It is. At times at times it's just whatever works for people. And sometimes I know when that don't happen and you have in a relationship, you get angry. So sometimes you want to stay angry, sometimes you want to stay motivated. But sometimes some people say it makes you weak. So it's that a fighter, whoever, whatever first floats your boat. So studies has been shown it does nothing. Studies have been shown it actually raises your testosterone levels a bit too. So.
You're going to be fighting Shogun. He's tough. He's a mean fighter. What holes do you see in his game?
Shogun been around for a while. He don't really have any holes in his game. But, the same thing is, between Shogun and I is, the thing about mixed martial arts is an evolving sport. And, Shogun, if you watch him now, he still kind of fights that same aggressive style. I don't think it's within his nature to actually back up anytime soon. If I need to get aggressive, I can get aggressive. If I need to be a counter fighter, I can be a counter fighter. But the thing about me is every single fight, I'm going to be a different fighter.
Do you like to keep the fight standing up, or do you like to bring it down to the mat?
To be honest, it don't matter. My thing is, as a fighter, I understand I'm a fighter, but at the end of the day, I'm an entertainer too. So whichever way I can give the crowd or give my my bosses a wow factor, that's what I try to look for.
Very interesting. I didn't realize you were an entertainer as well. But since you are an entertainer as well, after you take someone down, after you knock someone out, do you ever say sorry?
It's not necessarily about saying sorry. It's you always want to check on the fighter. Like I have a habit of checking on my opponents just with a simple fact is, even though we're fighting each other, at the end of the day, I know he has to go home. I know he has a family he has to go to. But I mean, it's kind of the life that we chose. This is the way we want to support ourselves. This is the type of career that we want to do. We're not pushing papers, going to a 9-to-5 job. We're, our livelihood is, what we do within the next, for this fight, it's going to be for the next 25 minutes.
OSP, we're running really short on time. I want to say thank you very much. But before we go, I want you to give a message to all of your fans here who are watching and all your fans here in Japan and around the world. But before you go into the ring, do you have any special ceremony? I mean, do you say a prayer? Do you do some yoga? Do you take a shot of tequila, a shot of sake? What do you do just before you go in?
I think my biggest thing is I actually do this probably a month out before I even actually fight. Is imagery, visualization. That's what I do entirely. So, and basically when the ref looks at me and said, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" and he says, "Go," I just know to myself right now. I just tell myself, kind of switch that gear, and I tell myself, it's time to go. I was like, or I tell myself, "Let's go," and that lets me know. Just to be like in that split moment is just like pretty much just become a savage.
I like it, and I can't wait to see you at the big UFC fight coming up this September. That savage is what I want to see in the ring. Can you give a message to all of our fans here in Japan and around the world, all of your fans?
Just keep an eye on the fight. With me, you want to keep an eye on the fight because you really don't know what's going to happen. So if you want to sit down and look down, or take a drink, the fight might be over.
Okay. OSP, thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure talking with you and meeting you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.